I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it. That's the bit that excites me, is the idea of being able to bring some change.
Royal circles have been thrown into turmoil after an extraordinary development reportedly reshaped the balance of influence within the monarchy. As Prince William moves with growing authority, Camilla's son is said to have suffered a stunning loss of royal access, while Peter and Harriet emerge at the center of a remarkable transition. The unexpected shift has sparked intense speculation, fierce debate, and questions about who truly holds influence behind palace walls. Could this be the clearest sign yet of a new royal era taking shape? What do you think? Does this change strengthen the future of the monarchy, or does it reveal deeper tensions within the royal family? Share your view in the comments below. To help us bring you more royal updates and uncover the latest palace developments, please subscribe. Tom Parker Bowles faces scrutiny. Tom Parker Bowles is a man who has spent his life building a name far away from palace traditions. Born in 1974, he became known as a respected food writer, author, and broadcaster, earning recognition through his own work rather than through royal connections. Confident in public life and surrounded by influential figures, he appeared to some as a capable and modern personality who could easily step into a larger public role. Yet what seemed like a practical answer to one challenge soon evolved into a debate that touched the very foundations of the monarchy.
Behind the grandeur of royal ceremonies, a growing
pressure has been weighing heavily on the institution. The number of active senior royals has steadily declined. Prince Harry now lives in California and no longer carries out royal duties, while Prince Andrew remains absent from public life. At the same time, King Charles, now in his mid-70s, has been forced to balance his responsibilities while receiving treatment for cancer. The result has been a shrinking group of working royals expected to manage an endless calendar of charitable patronages, official visits, and state occasions. Within this environment, a different vision reportedly emerged. Supporters of a more flexible approach believed the monarchy needed additional hands to help carry the burden. From that perspective, Tom Parker Bowles seemed to offer an attractive possibility. He was experienced, articulate, comfortable with media attention, and already connected to the royal family through Queen Camilla. The idea was not presented as a dramatic revolution, but as a practical adjustment suited to a changing era. If a trusted family member could assist with selected charitable causes and public engagements, it could ease the strain on an overstretched institution. However, not everyone viewed the situation through the same lens. For Prince William and Princess Anne, the issue extended far beyond workloads and scheduling concerns. They reportedly saw something much larger at stake. Royal patronages are not simply honorary positions handed out for convenience. They represent a direct connection between the crown and the public, carrying constitutional significance that has been shaped over generations. That distinction transformed what might have appeared to be a sensible administrative solution into a matter of principle. The question was never merely whether Tom Parker Bowles was capable. Few doubted his professional achievements. Instead, the debate centered on whether the monarchy could blur long-established boundaries without altering the meaning of royal service itself. In the end, the discussion became less about one individual and more about how far the institution could adapt while remaining true to the traditions that define it. A royal patronage may appear ceremonial on the surface, but why has the monarchy guarded these positions so carefully for generations? What hidden responsibilities come with carrying the crown's reputation? And how could one seemingly routine decision raise difficult questions about duty, trust, and royal authority? Let's find out. The true weight of patronage. A royal patronage carries far more weight than a ceremonial title or a public show of support. Whenever a senior royal agrees to champion a charity, cultural organization, military unit, or medical institution, the crown places its reputation behind that cause. The public sees more than a familiar face. They see a symbol of duty, stability, and national trust. That trust has been carefully protected for Generations, because it rests on one essential principle. Those who officially represent the monarchy are bound to it through constitutional responsibility and lifelong public service. A growing debate within royal circles reportedly emerged when discussions surfaced about granting a significant royal role to Tom Parker Bowles, Queen Camilla's son. To some, the idea appeared practical and harmless. To others, however, it raised broader questions about the limits of royal authority and who should be permitted to represent the crown in an official capacity. The concern extended beyond any one individual. Senior figures reportedly viewed the issue as a matter of precedent. If a family member connected to the monarchy through marriage rather than bloodline were given a role traditionally associated with royal service, future generations could point to that example when seeking similar positions. Over time, critics feared that the distinction between working royals and private relatives could become less clear. Reports suggest that Prince William and Princess Anne approached the matter as a question of long-term constitutional importance rather than a routine administrative decision. Rather than approving the proposal, they were said to have withheld support and sought a review of how the recommendation had advanced through official channels. The controversy also drew attention to the procedures that govern royal appointments. Such roles are typically subject to consultation, careful assessment, and advice from senior officials. These safeguards are intended to maintain public confidence and ensure that decisions reflect the monarchy's established principles rather than personal preferences. As discussions continued, the issue evolved into a wider debate about the future of the monarchy. One perspective favored greater flexibility and adaptation to changing circumstances, while the other emphasized preserving the constitutional boundaries and traditions that have guided royal service for generations. Ultimately, the dispute became about more than a single appointment. It reflected differing views on how the monarchy should evolve, while maintaining the structures and principles that supporters believe are essential to protecting the crown's authority and long-term stability. A proposal designed to address a royal staffing issue quickly became one of the palace's most controversial debates. But what turned a practical solution into a clash over royal tradition? Why did Prince William and Princess Anne raise concerns about the process, and what made them believe the monarchy itself could be affected? Let's uncover the astonishing details. A proposal intended to address a growing royal staffing challenge quickly developed into one of the most sensitive debates within the palace. Supporters viewed it as a practical and modern solution to an unusual problem. However, behind closed doors, concerns began to emerge over whether the plan met the long-established standards and traditions that have safeguarded the monarchy for generations. Rather than launching a personal attack, Prince William and Princess Anne focused on something far more powerful: the process itself. Their concern was not about individual character or charitable achievements. Instead, they wanted to know whether the proposal had truly passed through the established safeguards expected for a matter carrying such constitutional and symbolic weight. If those safeguards had been shortened, accelerated, or influenced by personal connections, the implications would reach far beyond a single appointment. As these concerns spread through palace corridors, divisions quickly emerged. Supporters of Queen Camilla argued that changing circumstances required flexibility. They pointed to the need for continuity in charitable work and suggested that modern institutions must occasionally adapt to unexpected realities. From their perspective, practical results mattered more than rigid tradition. Others saw the situation very differently. Backed by senior officials and experienced palace advisors, William and Anne insisted that royal patronages represent far more than administrative duties. They argued that such positions are closely tied to the authority and credibility of the crown itself. Once the distinction between private family relationships and official royal responsibilities becomes unclear, they warned, the monarchy risks weakening the very principles that have allowed it to endure for centuries. The debate gained even greater significance because of Princess Anne's involvement. Throughout decades of public service, she has built a reputation as one of the monarchy's most disciplined guardians of protocol. To Anne, procedures are not obstacles standing in the way of progress, They are the framework that protects public trust. When she added her voice to the dispute, what had begun as an internal discussion transformed into a far larger struggle over the future direction of the House of Windsor and the standards that will guide it in the years ahead. Behind the polished image of royal life, a quiet debate was reportedly growing into something far more consequential. But what proposal sparked such concern, and why did Prince William and Princess Anne view it as a challenge to the very principles guiding royal decision-making? Stay with us as the full story unfolds. Royal proposal triggers internal scrutiny. Behind the polished image of royal life, a quiet but significant debate was reportedly unfolding inside the palace. What appeared at first to be a discussion about a single proposal soon evolved into something much larger, drawing attention to the very foundations of how important decisions are made within the monarchy. Rather than focusing on personalities or engaging in a direct confrontation, Prince William and Princess Anne were said to have approached the matter from an entirely different angle. Their concern was not simply whether a recommendation should be accepted or rejected. Instead, they reportedly wanted to understand how the proposal had advanced so far through the system. Questions began to surface about the path it had taken, the advisors who had supported it, and whether every required stage of review had been properly completed before it reached senior royal consideration. Madsen's inquiries continued. Attention reportedly shifted toward the internal safeguards designed to protect the institution. Within palace operations, major decisions are expected to pass through careful examination, consultations, and independent assessments before any action is taken. William and Anne were said to be interested in whether these established protections had been followed fully or whether parts of the process had been accelerated along the way. This change in focus transformed the entire conversation. What might have remained a private family disagreement inside royal residences became a broader discussion about responsibility, fairness, and institutional discipline. The spotlight moved away from individuals and toward the mechanisms that ensure balance and accountability at the highest levels of royal life. Observers noted that this approach carried particular weight because it emphasized principles rather than personal opinions. By concentrating on procedure, transparency, and consistency, the discussion reportedly highlighted a belief that the monarchy's stability depends not only on centuries of tradition but also on adherence to established rules. In the months leading toward decisions expected to influence the royal household's future direction, the debate reportedly served as a reminder that every recommendation, regardless of who supports it, must withstand the same level of scrutiny. What emerged was not simply a question about one proposal, but a wider examination of how the institution protects its standards and preserves public confidence in its decision-making process. Behind the grandeur of royal ceremonies and carefully crafted public appearances, a far more consequential debate was quietly taking shape. But what transformed a routine discussion about royal duties into a battle over the monarchy's future? As competing visions emerged behind palace walls, who would ultimately shape the crown's next chapter? And what divisions were already beginning to surface? Let's find out. Royal divide over monarchy's future. Behind the grand ceremonies, historic palaces, and carefully managed public appearances, a far more important conversation was unfolding within the royal household. What appeared on the surface to be a practical discussion about managing responsibilities gradually evolved into a defining debate about the future direction of the monarchy itself. As preparations for the years ahead intensified, different visions for the institution began to emerge, revealing a divide that reached far beyond daily schedules and official engagements. Supporters of Queen Camilla's perspective believed the crown was facing challenges that could no longer be addressed through old methods alone. They argued that modern society had changed dramatically and that the monarchy, if it hoped to remain relevant and effective, needed to show a greater willingness to adapt. From this viewpoint, allowing trusted relatives with experience and commitment to contribute more actively seemed like a sensible solution. Rather than seeing such involvement as a departure from tradition, they viewed it as a practical adjustment to the realities of a demanding modern age. Yet others within royal circles reportedly saw the matter through a very different lens. Prince William and Princess Anne were said to regard the issue as one that touched the very foundation of the institution. For them, the question was never simply about easing workloads or finding additional support. It was about preserving the principles that have guided the monarchy through generations. They believed that official royal responsibilities carry obligations that extend far beyond family ties, and that public roles connected to the crown should remain clearly defined and carefully protected. As these competing ideas gained attention, the discussion grew increasingly significant. What had once seemed like an internal administrative matter transformed into a broader examination of identity, purpose, and continuity. By the middle of the 2020s, the debate had come to symbolize two different paths forward, one favoring greater flexibility and wider participation, the other defending established boundaries and long-standing constitutional traditions. In the end, the real question was not who would carry out royal duties. It was whether the monarchy's future would be shaped by adaptation or by preservation, a choice that could influence the character of the crown for generations to come. The proposal seemed to provide a timely answer to growing pressure on the monarchy. But its importance extended far beyond royal duties. How did Peter Phillips become central to the plan? And why was Harriet Sperling's experience considered a key part of a strategy already attracting attention behind palace walls? Let's unravel the details. Peter and Harriet's surprising role. The true strength of this plan lay not only in the individuals selected, but in how seamlessly every element came together. As the monarchy faced increasing pressure to fulfill its public duties while supporting the Princess of Wales during her recovery, an unexpectedly practical and highly effective solution emerged from within the broader royal family. Much of the attention centered on Peter Phillips, yet the inclusion of Harriet Sperling added an entirely different dimension to the strategy. As an experienced pediatric nurse, Harriet brought something rarely found in royal circles: years of practical medical knowledge gained directly from working with children and families. Her expertise aligned naturally with the causes that have defined Catherine's modern legacy, particularly her commitment to early childhood development and children's well-being through initiatives connected to the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood. Rather than creating new titles, expanding royal ranks, or increasing costs to taxpayers, the arrangement followed a far more disciplined path. Peter and Harriet would contribute their professional skills as dedicated supporters of specific charitable campaigns while remaining outside the formal structure of the working monarchy. The approach allowed important public projects to continue moving forward without placing additional demands on Catherine during a sensitive period. Behind the scenes, strict safeguards ensured the plan remained carefully controlled. Any charitable engagement, public appearance, or statement linked to their work would require approval through Prince William's communications team. Clear boundaries separated private careers from public service. When operating in business settings, royal connections could not be used for commercial advantage. When supporting charitable causes, they would appear only as volunteering family members, rather than official royals. This emerging model, increasingly described by observers as an associate royals approach, offered a modern answer to an old challenge. It preserved the monarchy's focus, protected public finances, and strengthened key national campaigns without altering constitutional traditions. More importantly, it highlighted a sharp contrast with alternative proposals that risked blurring long-established boundaries. By choosing expertise, discipline, and family support over institutional expansion, William revealed a strategy designed not just for today, but for the future of the crown itself. What seemed like a routine discussion about the future of royal duties soon exposed deeper concerns within the House of Windsor. But why had the pressure on senior royals reached such a critical point? And what solution did Prince William unveil that completely transformed the debate and left many questioning the monarchy's next move? Let's uncover the intriguing details. Royal debate ends with surprise. What looked like a simple discussion about the future of royal duties soon became one of the most revealing moments inside the House of Windsor. Behind palace walls, concerns had been growing that the burden on senior working royals was becoming too heavy. Supporters of Queen Camilla reportedly argued that the monarchy needed fresh hands and new faces to keep pace with its growing responsibilities. For a time, that argument appeared difficult to challenge. Then came a solution that changed the entire conversation. Rather than allowing the debate to center on outsiders or extended family connections, Prince William presented an alternative that was both simple and powerful. The proposal relied on trusted members of the royal bloodline who were already closely connected to the institution, respected within family circles, and willing to contribute without creating any additional cost for the public. In one move, the claim that the monarchy faced an unavoidable staffing crisis suddenly lost much of its force. The effect was immediate. Questions that had once focused on what the royal family lacked now shifted toward what it already possessed. If capable relatives from within the direct family network were prepared to help, why was there any need to expand official roles elsewhere? That single question quietly transformed the debate and placed supporters of Tom Parker Bowles in an increasingly difficult position. What made the development even more significant was the united front reportedly shown by William and Princess Anne. Their approach emphasized continuity, tradition, and constitutional stability at a time when the institution remained under intense public scrutiny. Faced with a proposal that required no special arrangements, no changes to established practice, and no controversial exceptions, opposition gradually faded. By the time discussions reached their conclusion, the effort to secure a formal royal position for Camilla's son had effectively disappeared. Reports suggested that King Charles welcomed the outcome, seeing it as a way to preserve family harmony, while protecting long-standing royal boundaries. The deeper involvement of Peter Phillips and Harriet in voluntary support roles was viewed as a positive step toward strengthening the next generation of royal service. For Catherine, Princess of Wales, the arrangement reportedly brought particular satisfaction, especially regarding future health and childhood initiatives. In the end, the plan succeeded not through confrontation, but through a carefully crafted answer that left almost no room for argument. What began as a routine discussion about royal responsibilities soon raised far bigger questions about the monarchy's future. But what transformed a simple debate into a defining palace test? Why did Princess Anne and Prince William take such a firm stand? And what principles were they determined to protect as tradition faced mounting pressure from practicality? Let's find out. Anne and William defend tradition. A seemingly routine debate over royal responsibilities quickly evolved into a much larger question about the monarchy's future direction. Behind palace walls, a pivotal test unfolded, challenging long-established principles and forcing senior royals to consider whether practicality should ever take precedence over tradition. At the center of the discussion stood Princess Anne, whose more than 50 years of unwavering public service have earned her a reputation for discipline and duty, alongside Prince William, who has consistently argued that the distinction between the royal family and the Queen Consort's wider relatives must remain unmistakably clear. Their position was not driven by personal disagreements or family rivalries. Instead, it reflected a deeper commitment to protecting the constitutional framework that has guided the crown for generations. In a surprising twist, the answer to a growing operational challenge did not come from expanding royal privileges or reshaping established rules. Rather, it emerged through the willingness of Harriet and Peter to offer support in a carefully defined professional capacity. Their acceptance was reportedly marked by humility, honor, and a genuine desire to serve. They sought neither titles nor public funding, presenting instead a modern example of service rooted in family loyalty and civic responsibility. For years, William has watched closely as social connections surrounding Queen Camilla gradually gained visibility within royal circles. While he has repeatedly emphasized respect for her position as Queen Consort, he has also maintained that relatives from her previous marriage should remain private citizens, separate from the official functions of the state. In his view, even the slightest blurring of that line risks weakening public confidence in the institution. The outcome delivered a powerful message, A challenge that had been described as urgent was resolved without altering fundamental principles. The work continued, the institution remained steady, and the boundaries held firm. In the end, the episode became less about personalities and more about a timeless truth. Within the monarchy, duty, accountability, and tradition still outweigh personal influence. So, what do you think led to Camilla's son being stripped of royal access? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.